Hey, welcome to drinknectar.com. I am your host, Josh Wade, and this is the internet's place to explore the five senses of coffee and wine. This afternoon, we're at Niko's Restaurant and Wine Bar. We're going to go on inside and see what this place has to offer for wine lovers in Spokane. Hopefully talk to the wine steward and enjoy some great wine. We'll see you inside. All right, so we're inside Niko's Restaurant and Wine Bar on Riverside and Post. They're open Sunday through Wednesday from 4 to 10. And from Thursday through Saturday from 4 to 11. You're going to find about 1,200 bottles of wine and 50 wines by the glass. And that rotates every couple weeks, and you'll always be able to find an amazing selection in here. I'm here this afternoon with the wine steward and the wine expert here at Niko's Wine Bar. Been having a great conversation. She's taken me on the tour, and Pauline, it's been fantastic talking with you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Tell us a little bit about, we've been talking about what the business model is, or what you want people to experience when they come in. So, tell people what you would like people to experience when they come into Niko's.
When you come into Niko's, I think it's important that you feel comfortable with just experiencing wine at whatever level it is that you feel comfortable with, whether you're a neophyte or if you know a lot about wine. And just come in and kind of see what's being offered at any given time, and see if there's something that maybe would even take you in a direction that you've never been before. To me, it's really important to have new experiences every day, and I have a little motto, which is, life's too short to drink the same wine twice.
I like that. Life's too short to drink the same wine twice. You guys serve a lot of wines by the bottle, and you do retail too, which I thought was very interesting. Do you do a lot of wine retail?
I do a fair amount of wine retail.
Yeah.
What I really enjoy is not necessarily the big sale. I mean, it's nice when people come in and buy 10 cases of wine. But when you come in and you've had a tour or you've had a glass of wine and you really like it,
right,
how convenient it is to be able to just pick it up here. It's the same price that you would spend going to a specialty wine shop.
You guys have been on the Spokane scene for about 12 and a half years as a wine bar. Mm-hmm. What have you seen come and go as the trends over the last 12 and a half years?
For instance, I was really surprised that there weren't more specialists in town. Where I came from, we were a dime a dozen. When I got here, there were so few people who were actively involved with presenting wine to the market and helping people get past the myriad of mysteries that surround wine, whether it be the labels with lack of knowledge on them, the French wines that have no information, and it just has the region, and if you don't really know what it is, then why buy it? It might not even fit into something that you're comfortable enjoying. I'm seeing now is Merlot come back, where when I first came to town 12 years ago, Pinot Noirs, you couldn't give them away. I would run a Pinot Noir tour and hardly anyone would order it. Now if I have a Pinot Noir tour, it sells out first. Right. And it's kind of fun to watch something happen to that. Internationally, right now, Spain, Argentina, these are huge. Like from Spain, the Prirats are taking over. Tempranillos, the Rioja region. I like to promote the grape from the region.
Right.
And so with Washington, we have a nice luxury of being able to do Viognier, Chardonnay, Cabernet, Merlot, Shiraz, lots of blends, and the prices actually are really reasonable, especially with the blends. Right. You can spend more for a cab, but a blend using Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, Syrah, Malbec, let's say, will be a lot more reasonable and more affordable for every day.
You mentioned Washington, and I know in Spokane specifically, I've had the privilege of talking to a couple of the different winemakers in town. What do you see happening in the Spokane wine scene when it comes to the actual producers?
Well, now what's great, there's over 600 wineries from which to choose, obviously. Right. And I can't say it's for sure that there's 600 wineries. It's just that a local winery called Bridge Press Cellars, they actually were number 600. I still think that the trend is going to go towards people who want to do small productions. It's not going to be about mass production, although there's always going to be room for that. Saint Michel was one of the very first wineries, of course, that was able to create wines that could go beyond this area. But as we're starting to see that more and more people want to drink local. It's not all about producing enough wine to share with the rest of the world. Right. Sometimes it's about sharing wine with your neighbors or just the people in your town, which like Barrister, for instance, is really good about doing. But it's nice to get international exposure.
Sometimes it's tough to get that local wine even all the way across the country with all the distribution laws and everything.
Exactly.
Well, I know Niko's has been in business for 25 years, and you mentioned something when we were talking phone or via email that you guys have some things coming up for celebrating that 25 years. What's on the horizon for Niko's and this wine bar that people can come in and experience?
I'm hoping that it's not so much about having the new experience, it's about revisiting what was, in my opinion, an old friend. Somebody, if you haven't been here recently, you can come back in and realize that everything's just as good or better. But for the 25th anniversary, one of the things that we're doing is that when you come in and you have dinner, that at the end of the meal, after you have paid for your dinner, actually, then we're going to give you a $25 gift certificate that you'll be able to bring back and use within the year.
That's fantastic. And you heard it here first. I know you guys are getting ready to start up a dinner service, and I want to make sure you can get to that. We've talked about at length your massive selection of wines. How do you get to that process where people can have the best experience here at Niko's when it comes to wine?
I literally taste hundreds of wines every week, and I do
feel for you.
At 9:30 in the morning, from 9:30 to 11:30 every Wednesdays. I have 10 people coming in here. They're bringing me their best, and I can get it down to where if there's 10, I'm impressed if there's 5 that are really worth having at any given price point. And what I'm trying to do is just create a nice idea of maybe a wine tour. It might be a producer tour where I'm just featuring one producer. It might be that I'm doing Merlots or Pinot Noirs, or it could be that I'm doing vintages. It's kind of fun to just do like 2007. Or I really like the one is Forgetting Sideways. It's where it's no Pinot Noir, it's all Merlot.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think it's important to have the right wine, but more importantly, to serve it in the right glass. If you try to serve it in an inferior glass, a great wine will taste just that, inferior to what it should be.
So I think just in talking to you, what I get from being here at Niko's is that this is a place that you have an expert who's gone through and tried, hundreds and hundreds of wines to distill it down to the best for the customer, and you serve it in the best glasses. You have an amazing atmosphere, and you said something earlier that I want to make sure comes out to people is that wine is the food of the soul, and that it's you want to create a place where it brings people to conversation. And that reminds me of a tagline that I'll leave you guys with that I have, is that life is meant to be enjoyed with friends, and there's no better way than to enjoy life with a friend over a glass of wine. So I just want to encourage you guys to come down to Niko's, enjoy their wine bar and also their amazing restaurant, and to drink happy.
And now I have a new friend.
Yeah, you do.